Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to study about the life process. So in this life process, how the plant is able to synthesize its own food material. After synthesizing the food material, how this plant is respiring and how this plant is transporting the synthesized food material from one part of the plant to another part of the plant. We are going to see nutrients. Nutrients are the materials that help us in growth, repair and development. So nutrients are the materials that help an organism for its growth, repair and development. So growth, repair and development. Now these nutrients are classified into macronutrients and micronutrients. What is meant by macro? Macronutrients are required in larger quantities. Micronutrients are required in lesser quantities. The macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids. These are also called as oils or fats. So the macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids or fats. Next, micronutrients which are required in lesser quantities. These are vitamins and minerals. The macronutrients are vitamins and minerals. Next, the nutrition. What is meant by nutrition? The process of taking in of nutrients is called as nutrition. Nutrition is the process of taking in of nutrients is called as nutrition. The nutrition is of two different types, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. This is the autotrophic nutrition, this is the heterotrophic nutrition. Now autotrophic nutrition, in that one, auto means self. Auto means self. Nutrition means what is meant by nutrition? Taking of nutrients. So self taking of nutrients. Now autotrophic nutrition means if the organism able to prepare its own food material, that is called as autotrophic nutrition. Now which animals are able to perform autotrophic nutrition means all plants and the green algae. All plants and green algae are able to see the autotrophic nutrition. Now, if the organism is able to synthesize its own food material, that process is called as photosynthesis. Now, this is the equation of photosynthesis: 6CO2 plus 12H2O in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the plant preparing the glucose and releasing the oxygen. So this is the photosynthetic equation. In order to synthesize one molecule of glucose, how many carbon dioxide molecules the plant requires? 6 carbon dioxide molecules the plant is required. Now what is the site of photosynthesis? The site of photosynthesis is the chlorophyll of chloroplast. Chlorophyll of chloroplast. Now what is this chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green color pigment present in the cellular organelle called as chloroplast. Now this green color pigment is present in the cellular organelle called as chloroplast. Where this chloroplast is present? Now if you see the transverse section of the leaf, this is called as the transverse section, TS of leaf. Now the TS of leaf is made up of upper epidermis and lower epidermis. This is called as upper epidermis, and this is called as lower epidermis. It is called as the lower epidermis. Now the lower epidermis is having gaps. These gaps are called as stomata. Now through these stomata, the gaseous exchange will take place. That means the plant can take the carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen. The plant can take the carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen. Now these, in between the upper and lower epidermis, we are having the mesophyll cells. These are called as mesophyll cells. Now in these mesophyll cells are specialized to do photosynthesis. So now in this mesophyll cell we are having specialized cellular organelles called as the chloroplast. Now in this chloroplast, the green color pigment called as chlorophyll is present. Now the chlorophyll will absorb the sunlight and prepare the bone food material. The chlorophyll will absorb the sunlight and prepare the bone food material. Next, raw materials. What are the raw materials required for photosynthesis? The raw materials required for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. The raw materials required for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. Now coming to the structure of stomata, this is the stomata. The stomata is present onto the lower epidermis. This stomata is surrounded by the kidney-shaped cells called as God cells. Now this is the stomata. This stomata is surrounded by the bean-shaped cells or kidney-shaped cells. These bean-shaped cells or kidney-shaped cells, these are called as God cells. These are called as God cells. Now the stomata in turn surrounded by the additional cells called as subsidiary cells. These are called as subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. Now inside the God cells you find these you can find the chloroplast. These are the chloroplast and this is the nucleus. This is the chloroplast and this is the nucleus. Now as chloroplast is present in the God cell is able to perform the photosynthesis, and this is the stomata. Through this stomata, exchange of gases will take place like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Through this stomata, exchange of gases will take place like carbon dioxide and oxygen. The carbon dioxide is taken in by the plant and oxygen is taken out by the plant. Now opening and closing of the stomata. Now this stomata performs a lot of functions. For example, the stomata, through the stomata, loss of water will take place. That is called as transpiration. The loss of water through stomata is called as transpiration. Now the excess amount of water is lost outside the plant body through this stomata. The process is called as transpiration. Now the another function of the stomata is absorption of the carbon dioxide. So there are two important functions of the stomata. The first function is the loss of water. Through stomata, the water is lost from the plant body. The process is called as transpiration. And another important function of the stomata is to take the gases like carbon dioxide. Now what is the requirement for opening and closing of the stomata? So if the stomata keeps on opening for longer period, the plant loses water. So that's why to control and regulate the amount of water in the plant body, the stomata need to be closed during some times. Now how the stomata opens and closes means, now this is the aperture pore called stomata, which is surrounded by the bean-shaped cells, God cells. When the God cells are full of water, when the God cells are full of water, the God cells become turgid. So when God cells become turgid, the stomata will close. The stomata will close. So when the God cells loses water, when the God cells loses water, the cell will becomes flaccid. The cell will becomes flaccid. When the cell becomes flaccid, the stomata will open. The stomata will. When the God cells absorb full of water, when the God cells absorb full of water, the God cell becomes turgid. The God cells become turgid. In the turgidity cells, the stomata opens. The stomata opens in the turgidity cells. When the God cells loses water, when the God cell loses water, when the God cell loses water, the God cell becomes flaccid. In this flaccid condition, the God cells closes. The God cell closes the stomata. So here, opening and closing of stomata is a very important process. Why? Because the stomata is regulating the amount of water in the plant body. So through the stomata, the water is lost from the plant body. The process is called transpiration. So in order to maintain and regulate the amount of water levels in the plant body, the stomata need to be closed for some times. Now how this stomata is opening and closing means, the stomata is surrounded by the God cells. When will take full of water, then the guard cells will become turgid. In the turgid state, the stomata will be open. When a guard cell loses water, the guard cell will become flaccid. In the flaccid state, the stomata will closes. So the opening and closing of stomata is decided by the guard cells that surrounds the stomata. Next, before going to see the heterotrophic nutrition, this photosynthesis. Now the complete process of the photosynthesis is divided into the light reaction and dark reaction. Now by using light reaction, so by using the light energy, the water molecule is split into the protons and oxygen, and during the dark reaction, during the carbon dioxide is fixed into glucose. That is the light reaction and dark reaction. Next, heterotrophic nutrition. Now, heterotrophic nutrition means if the organism is depending upon another organism for their food requirements and nutrition requirements, that is called as heterotrophic nutrition. So, what is by heterotrophic nutrition? If the organism depends upon another organism for their food and nutrition, that is called as heterotrophic nutrition. So, taking of nutrients from another organism. Taking of nutrients from another organism is called as heterotrophic nutrition. Now, depending upon another organism for their nutrition requirements is called as heterotrophic nutrition. I repeat, heterotrophic nutrition means if the organisms depend on other organisms for their nutrition requirements, that is called as heterotrophic nutrition. The heterotrophic nutrition is divided into three types. One is saprophytic nutrition, holozoic nutrition, and parasitic nutrition. So, saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition means now here onto the food material some digestive juices are secreted outside the body. So, digestive juices are secreted onto the food material before taking in. So, before taking of the food material only, the digestive juices are secreted onto the food material. So, saprophytic nutrition means before absorption of the food material, before ingestion of the food material, the digestive juices are secreted onto the food material. So these digestive juices will digest the food material outside the body. So after the digestion of the food material, these digested food material are ingested. That is called as saprophytic nutrition. Now the saprophytic nutrition is seen by decomposers. So what are decomposers? Decomposers are the microbes that eat or that depend upon dead and decaying organisms. The saprophytic nutrition is seen in decomposers. Decomposers are the microorganisms that depend and eat dead and decaying organisms. Now, the examples of decomposers are insects, houseflies, and microbes. So, in addition with the microbes, the insects are also acting as decomposers, houseflies are also acting as decomposers. That means these insects and houseflies are releasing some digestive juices onto the food material. After the food material is digested, these digested food materials are ingested or taken into the body. Next, holozoic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition means after the ingestion of the food material into the body, after taking the food material into the body, the food material is digested. That is called as holozoic nutrition. So, holozoic nutrition means digestion happens inside the body. Holozoic nutrition means digestion happens inside the body. Saprophytic nutrition means digestion happens outside the body. Now, the process of holozoic nutrition is divided into 5 steps that we will discuss later. Before that one, parasitic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition means here the organisms lives in the host. The organisms lives inside the body of the host. Now, the organism, the parasite or the organism lives inside the host. Now, the nutrients are absorbed from the host. Nutrients are derived from the host. They are derived from the host. Now, if If the parasite is living inside the host, the parasite is called endoparasite. If the parasite is living outside the body of the host, the parasite is called as ectoparasite. Now, examples are, the NCERT examples are Cuscuta and tick. Tick is the ectoparasite. Tick is the ectoparasite. Next, nutrition in amoeba. Now, the example for holozoic nutrition is amoeba, and all animals are also showing the holozoic nutrition. So we human beings are also exhibiting the holozoic nutrition. Why? Because we are ingesting the food material. After ingestion of the food material, digestion happens inside the body. Now, nutrition in amoeba, holozoic nutrition. Now, amoeba, we know that the amoeba is not having a definite shape. The amoeba is unicellular cytoplasm, and inside the cytoplasm we are having the nucleus, and the cytoplasm is surrounded by the plasma membrane. Now, the plasma membrane shows undulations, and these cytoplasmic extensions are called as pseudopodia. The pseudopodia are the locomotory organs in amoeba. In addition with the locomotion, the pseudopodia is also having another function. The another function is called as taking of food material, that is called nutrition. That means the pseudopodia is having two functions. The first function is locomotion, second function is nutrition. Now, this is the food particle. Whenever a food particle is there surrounding to the amoeba shows cytoplasmic extensions called pseudopodia. These pseudopodia uncovers the food material. The pseudopodia uncovers the food material. After the pseudopodia uncovers the food material, this food material is ingested into the amoeba. This food material is ingested into the amoeba. After that one, a food vacuole develops around the food material. After that one, a food vacuole will develop around the food material. So into this food material, the digestive juices are secreted. The digestive juices are secreted. Now these are the digestive food material. This is the food material, and this is the completely the food vacuole. Food vacuole, and these are the digestive juices. Digestive juices. Now, these digestive juices will digest the food material. After that one, the digested food material is absorbed into the cytoplasm, and undigested food material is eliminated outside the body. Now, the holozoic nutrition is divided into ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and addition. So, first of all, ingestion. Ingestion means the process of taking of food material into the body is called as ingestion. Next one, digestion. Now, after the food material is ingested into the body, the food vacuole is developed around the food material. The food vacuole, this is called as food vacuole. The food vacuole is developed, is formed around the food material. Now, this food vacuole is rich in or consisting of the digestive enzymes. These digestive enzymes will digest the food material. That is called as digestion. Next, absorption. So, after the digestion of food material, the digested food material, the macronutrients and micronutrients are absorbed into the cytoplasm. That is called absorption. Next, assimilation. Assimilation means these digested food material, when these digested food materials are used for growth, repair and development, that is called as assimilation. So, assimilation is the process where the digested food materials are used for body metabolism like growth, development and repair, that is called as assimilation. Next, addition. The undigested food material is excreted out. The undigested food material is excreted out. This excretion of undigested food material is called as addition. Now, I repeat, the holozoic nutrition is divided into ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and addition. Ingestion is the process of taking the food material into the body. Digestion means the process of digesting the food material by digestive enzymes. Absorption means after the digestion, the digested food materials are absorbed into the body. Next, assimilation means if these digested food materials, whatever the macronutrients and micronutrients which are utilized for the body metabolism like growth, repair and development, that is called assimilation. Next, addition. Addition is the process where undigested food material is eliminated from the body. So that is about the nutrition, for autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So in the tomorrow's class or in the next class, we are going to study about the respiration in plants. Thank you everybody.